Okay, we're in section 31 now. And again, my encouragement to you is to, do as we've been saying in the past, which is read over the content. It's not long. It tends to be very short. Try to comprehend the examples that are provided, and then get busy with the exercises. Yes, the exercises are going to take the majority of time. They really do. Here's the deal, though. You may not understand the contents fully or the examples fully, but you need to get busy trying, all right? Now, this document is being provided to the prison mathematics project participants only. At some point, it will be published. And again, my name is Ron Bannon. What gets published? My version of Webster Wells's Advanced Course in Algebra. And this goes back to 1904. Right, my document is much longer than Wells's, and the main reason why I put a tremendous amount of work down. If you need to reach out to me for whatever reason, my name is Bannon again. My email address is Bannon. That's B as in boy, ANNON.US. Now, someone can say, what's 31 about? It's certainly moving us forward, and it has something to do with the past. So if you look at that, you look at this as, problems involving literal equations. Equation with more than one unknown in it. Now, when I say that, we're going to look for one unknown. What does that mean? We're going to be looking for either like an X or a Y or some other letter. But the bottom line, there will be other letters that are also unknown to us, but we treat them like constants. All right, so we're going to say there's one unknown in the problem that we're looking for. So we'll go through examples. Now, again, Wells goes through the examples as well. And what I'm going to be doing is what way I would approach the problem. All right, so again, someone looking at this and saying, this is so complicated, I don't know where to start. You start by reading it. And as you're reading these things, we're hoping you can understand what they've stated. All right? So I'm going to read it to you. It says, divide A into two parts. All right? So I'm going to take A, which to me represents a number, and divide it into two parts. All right? Now, so how would you do that? Well, I'm going to take the number A, I'm going to divide it into two parts. So whatever A is, one of the parts I'll let it be X. The other part I'll have it into, let's see, that would be A minus X, right? Now what I mean, there's two parts over here, part one, part two. They might give these things names, by the way, brand of two parts. And if I divide A into two parts, the sum of those two parts should be equal to A. And I hope you realize if you add those two parts together, you would get A. Now here's what they say. They say that such M times the first. Well, I'm going to call this the first now. Now, I got to be honest with you, if someone calls this the first, this is probably, without me reading further, going to be called the second. Not necessary, but I'm going to say probably. If you say someone's the first, someone's going to say the second. So let's keep reading it. Divide A into two parts such that M times the first, but let me write that down, M times the first shall exceed. All right, what does that mean? Well, it's going to exceed something, right? Now, n times the second. Well, what's n times the second? N, A minus X. Now, how's it going to exceed it by? It's going to exceed it by something, and they say it exceeds it by B. All right? Now, what do they want me to do? They want me to find the first and second part in terms of the letter A, B, M, and N. Okay, my goal here is to find out what X is. Because if I can find out what X is, I could probably find out what the first and second part is. All right, so let's go through this process. And again, you might make mistakes. And I think the biggest mistake a lot of students make is they don't try. What I mean by that, they look at something and say, it's too tough for me to even think about this problem now. I'm going to try. So what do you get? NA minus NX plus B. Now, what I like to do is we're looking for X. We're trying to solve for X. I'm going to try to get the X onto one side. And you would get MX plus NX equals NA plus B. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to factor out the X. And what are you left off with? M plus N. And that would equal NA plus B. I'm going to solve for X, and what do you get? NA plus B over M plus N. So I'm going to say that's what my first part is, all right? Now, certainly we're hoping you're looking at the key. Certainly, I want to circle that for you. And you should notice my key is a lot neater than my work, but I am talking through it as if it was Blackboard. And did I get it right? Yeah. Now someone says, oh, you wrote NA, they wrote down AN. Well, you know me, I do like to write things in alphabetical order, so I'm going to say that's reasonable. But this is also fine. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, so NA plus B over M plus N. Now someone says, how would you get the second part? Well, the second part is going to be A minus X. And what's X? Well, I got it written down. It's NA plus B over M plus N. Well, I got to do that, and we'll look at the key later. Common denominator is M plus N. What do you get for the numerator? A times M plus N. We will do the work. Minus NA minus B. All right, let's keep moving. We'll look at the key later. What do you get on top? AM plus AN minus NA minus B over M plus N. Now, some people look at this and say, I don't see anything going on over here, but I notice that these are like terms, all right? Now, someone says, it looks really weird. One says AN, the other one says NA. Remember, the multiplication is commutative. Any order I write down is the same. AN is the same thing as NA. And these are opposites. They cancel off. So we left off with, and we'll check the key later. AM minus B over M plus N. And this is the second part. Let's see if we got that. It's written over here. Again, we're just checking it. And we got it. We did okay. Now, again, there's only one example given, and someone says, that's not enough for me. You're right. It's not enough. You got to get busy. So what do? We're going to recommend that you spend a considerable amount of effort on the exercises here. The exercises can be a lot more difficult, but they start off very similar. I mean it really very similar to what we just did. And you might say, oh, no, they start to diverge into problems I haven't seen before. No, you've seen these before, all right? So, like the second one is about two men, A and B. They're A miles apart, right? You get the idea. You have to read that. I'm going to say distance equals rate times time problem for that. And again, 3. Again, it's dividing something into parts. 4 is a work problem. I'm seeing that. But again, you might be confused. You might have to go back and review other sections about the work problems that we've already done prior. This might be more difficult for you. And this one over here, principal, let me just write this down for you. It says what principal at R% will amount to $8 in t years. So, you'd have to know some kind of, formula over here. And let me just write down A equals principal 1 plus, and again, I'm going to be real careful about this. I have to read it over here. It says what principal at a rate R, interest, will amount to $8 in 2 years. And this would be 1 plus, I'm going to be careful here. And there's going to be a rate over here. And let's see. You know what? I'm going to rewrite that. I don't want to write that way. I'll write this way over here. So A, well, you have the principal, right? And then what do you have? You have principal times the rate of interest times the number of years. And this is what's known as interest over here. And what do you do over there? Well, you could factor it out. What do you get? P 1 plus RT. Now, someone says over here you have something written different over there. And the reason being is, a lot of people don't understand that rate is actually going to be written down as a percent in the final answer. So really, if it's written as a percent, I'd have to write it over 100. But this is fine. This is fine, all right? But again, you need to know that it needs to be written down as a percent. And why is that? They actually say it over here, all right? So just to save you a little time on that, it may be a good idea to write that down as a percent. So over here, R would be some decimal number. But if I want it as a percent, it would be R over 100T, all right? So that's where that formula is coming from over there. Oh, by the way, I'm using an uppercase A over here. They're using a lower case letter. Nowadays, we use uppercase letters to represent the amount that's accrued over the years. He's just using A, all right? And again, A, it's the same meaning, all right? Again, number 6 is related to number 5. Number 7 is that, dividing into parts. This one's a mixture problem. And, mixture problems are, really kind of standard procedure for algebra students. And they're kind of like simple mixture problems. You look at this grocer mixes A pounds of coffee worth M cents per pound with B pounds worth N cents per pound and C pounds worth P cents per pound. And what I would do is realize you got three things over here. And label your coffee. All right, label it. You'll see it. Hopefully you'll see the equation that we're writing down. This one over here is an age problem. Age problems are also typical in algebra. All right. Answers here are tough though. I'm going to say it's going to require some work. A 10 is a work problem. And again, you want to read through that. And then you get back to the good old SAGE. What's SAGE? It's a computer algebra system, or a CAS. It's free. Go to this website over here. You can download it or use an interactive web-based application. And what are these things over here? It's me solving the word problem, a word problem from this set, where, SAGE does a really good job of it. But the bottom line is SAGE does not formulate the problem. It doesn't read the problem for me. It doesn't do that. What does it do? It allows me to enter it in a methodical way. So again, we're recommending that you look at this code, see how it relates to the problems we've just given you. And, even if you don't understand what it's saying over here, type it in. Maybe over time you will start to understand it. All right. I do want to emphasize, though, if you do need to reach out to me, please try to do so by email. Provided I'm not overwhelmed with email, I will try to respond. I do get overwhelmed sometimes and I can't answer all the emails I received. They just go into the dustbin of history and I just never look at them again. It's surprising how many emails you can get, and you really can't process all those. I'm just one person. I do have a full-time job, which really takes more than full-time effort. All right. I do this in my spare time, by the way. So here's the deal. Thank you for paying attention. Continue to chug your way forward. We're in 31. Next time you come back, we'll do 32 until we get to 139. And then maybe we'll do the appendices. All right. Thanks for paying attention.